Oh, baby, we're back. We're back once again. Hate from buttfuck Canada, says Jeff Belbin. Nice. We got some buttfuck Canadians over here. That's very, very good. I've always thought that all Canadians were a little bit homosexual, but now it is indeed confirmed. Tim B says, extreme hate from Germany. Love it. Hate from Croatia. Nice. We got the Europeans hating as well. This is very, very good. Can you live stream your day while only communicating in growls after not shaving for a month? What the fuck? I didn't know where that comment was going before I started to read it. I always read these comments completely blind, so I have no idea what the fuck they're going to say. And sometimes they're like that, which is funny. Sometimes they are absolutely heinous. But hate from Missouri, nice. I made a live show. Fuck yeah, man. Good morning to you. Only love from Tampa, says Kevin Milker. What's up, man? Oh, it's Kevin. What's up, man? How you doing? Some life philosophy as well. Indeed. Biff the Bear, good morning, sir. Nova Sparks, Prickly Peppy, the Constrictor Collector, hate from Queens, New York. Everyone hates each other in Queens, New York. Nothing new there. Nothing new indeed. Mr. Van Duysen, good morning to you, man. Grand hate from Italia. Ooh, we like the Italians as well. We actually really want to go to Italy. Hopefully soon, man. Metasignals did it again. It did do it again, man. Metasignals just fucking crazy these last 2 or 3 months now. It seems like every fucking time one of these damn things fires off. It's about to retweet this last one, but every time these fucking things fire off, the first target has been just smashing it in the past I think it's like 3 months now that almost every target one for Bitcoin at least has been hit with flying colors. I mean, shit, man, there's been several times where we've seen target number 2 and target number 3 hit as well. But at the end of the day, it's just fucking stats, man. It's just stats. Everything is fucking stats. And I do think that this one does have a pretty, I do think that target number 2 has a pretty good chance of getting hit here. Now, does this happen today? Probably not. But overall, as we'll be going over in the rest of this, during the actual analysis portion of this video, I do think that several things still point higher in the short term first. And then we get to play the game of where do things land on September 15th, because that's where I start to really get my initial sort of next buys. And then, of course, by the end of September, it's going to really kind of settle that one in. Cemented in is the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, target number 2 here is 117. And I actually don't think that is out of the question at all for this rally. And, I still think that this can take, another week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. We're on September 5th right now. So what does that mean? We got 10 days left until September 15th. September 15th isn't like a hard date, but it's kind of like around there, basically. So that's a little bit less than 2 weeks, and I think that's kind of what we're looking at right here. What we are looking at when we reach the 61.8 Fibonacci, crowns going to Italy. I don't know what that's in reference to, but sure. The Fibonaccis are beautiful, man. You know what? Elsa actually bought me for my birthday. She bought me a subscription to this course site where I can go fully fucking balls deep into all the nerdy shit that I love to look at. And there's actually a course on the Fibonacci sequence, which is super fucking interesting. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. And I think Fibbo Swanee really has nailed this one. I think he really has nailed this one because it's not necessarily about the mathematical ratio. It's about what it represents in sort of our psychology. I do think that there's something to do with that because we do see it everywhere in nature. It's like the base of fucking the DNA sequence, like oh man, everything has it. My brain isn't working properly right now to express these ideas enough, and I don't know it well enough as well because I just started this course. But for fuck's sake, man, it's literally in every little thing that you can see. So why would it not be in, of course, markets as well, man? It's all fractal. It's all fractal in nature. That's where I can definitely see fractals working. Absolutely. The 618 is godlike. What's up, Mr. Pesto on Twitter? I almost said Twitch, but yes, it is indeed Twitter. I see we got a lot of people on Twitter as well. That's awesome to see. Wait, what are you saying? Oh, and then Elsa also sent me many other presents where she videotaped herself dancing. I wish I could show these. They're so fucking good. They're so fucking good, man. Yeah, and I saw some comments on Twitter earlier as well about people looking for the intro song. As always, look, you can actually get it on YouTube. All you need to do is just go over here, type in Crown Crypto theme, and it'll pop up on YouTube. You don't need to download it in some sort of weird way. It'll actually, it'll actually show up right there. And actually, I was just looking at the Bitcoin search terms here to kind of see what market sentiment is. Obviously, this is it's not the best way to do things. And I'll get to that question in a second, Jeff Belbin, because I think that's actually a really, really good question. But I just wanted to kind of quickly see what's going on here. And I mean, first off, I actually don't even recognize half these channels now. They must be mostly new, I'm guessing. Like these, maybe they're new, maybe they're not, but I don't fucking recognize. I mean, obviously I recognize Cryptos RS. I know him, good guy. Ivan on Tech, I know him. We used to do lots of videos together. Mr. Pump. I actually really like his videos, to be honest. But most of these people I don't fucking know anymore. Anyways, it does seem like generally the market enthusiasts are they're feeling bullish. But fair enough, man. Fair enough. Everyone's allowed to feel what they want to feel. And I do think that in this next, 10 to 14 day period, probably right to be looking for some upside. At least that seems to be the more likely thing to be looking for. Yeah, the golden ratio. The golden ratio is everything. Anyway, Jeff Belbin says, hey man, what 3 indicators would you use if you had some experience trading but not a pro? Feel free to roast me for this question. No, man, that's an amazing question actually. Understand that this is coming from my perspective, and I would say it completely depends upon where you're starting from. I typically say for people who are very, very new, like which it doesn't sound like you are, you have some experience, but if you're super new, less is more. Don't overload even more than one indicator if you even need to look at that. You can just start with fucking price action, man. Price action I do think is valuable to learn. You should learn trends next, and then after that, volatility and the momentum is kind of the way that I put it. So if I were to choose 3 indicators, I would want 3 indicators that represent those 3 different things. I don't want 3 indicators that do the same fucking thing. It blows my mind when people look at 3 different momentum oscillators in an actual trading plan. Like, good fucking luck with that, okay? You're just confusing yourself because they all have their unique values. Just like when you're looking at a fucking stochastic RSI and then an RSI and then a stochastic all together, it's like, okay, great. Like, you're just confusing yourself. You have no fucking clue what the hell you're doing. But if you do have some experience, I would say, of course, it depends on whatever strategy you're looking at, but I think in general, most people will benefit from at least having one indicator that can help identify trend if you're not already, comfortable with identifying it with your, eyes already. For that, I think moving averages are the obvious thing. Of course, you could choose something else in that category, but something to represent trend to just make it a nice systematized way of defining, okay, are we in an uptrend or a downtrend, or are we kind of trendless right now? Price action pivots would actually also massively do the job for this, but of course this is a paid indicator. I did forget to mention we do have a discounted sale period going on right now with the code labor 2020. Motherfucker, man, I'm just terrible at this shit. There we go. Yeah, Elsa will do it. All right, there you go. Anyways, Elsa will shill this morning. But yeah, something for trend to that effect. Moving averages obviously free to use, so I think it's a great one to start with. Nothing's going to be perfect, obviously, but something to get that down. Then I would go to volatility. Volatility, I think the best indicator, paid or unpaid, which this one is actually free from the fucking good graces of Mr. Caretaker, is the BBWP indicator. I've played with a million damn volatility indicators at this point, paid and unpaid, both from our community and from outside as well. This, hilariously enough, which is... and I'm not saying this in any way, shape, or form to denigrate the work, but it's a relatively simple idea. It's a fucking ingenious idea, but it is relatively simple. Throwing a percentile function on the BBWP, the Bollinger Band the Bollinger Band width. So BBW, it's the BBW is coming at it back again. It is, in my experience, the most accurate and the most valuable out of the whole fucking volatility indicator family. And I mean, it just fucking blows my mind. Anyways, that is really, really good for volatility. That kind of helps you understand when are we looking for a move. Trend is helping you understand what direction is this move likely to come in, and then momentum. For that, an RSI, if you want to be a little bit more long term, if you want to be a little more short term, stochastic momentum also is fine as well. There's a million different other ones as well. You got the MACD, you got the herpity-derp, you got the CMF, you got the CMI, you got the CCI, all these different ones. Look. Choose one, stick with that if you're going to use it in a trading plan. I know that my YouTube videos can be a little bit confusing in that regard because I will use multiple, but understand my YouTube videos, I want to be super fucking clear in stating this is not real trading or anything. I mean, obviously this should be quite obvious to everyone with fucking eyes and a brain, but this is not real trading. This is just general directional analysis for a very generalized community. Fair enough. It's not like an actual plan. For an actual plan, again, less is more. Generally, honestly, very simple strategies I've found to work really, really well over a long period of time. And quite honestly, the more intense I get with a strategy, the more that I find that it can be well optimized for a certain period, but over time, it's just not getting enough. It's just not getting enough fucking iterations. So anyways, that's kind of the way that I look at things. I'll choose one indicator for each one of those categories. But if I was brand new, I would say start with one or none and just focus on price action, focus on trend. That will be super, super powerful and give you a really, really good base. So yeah. Duncan Mays says, hey, Crown, I made it to a live. Fuck yeah, man. Glad to have you here. The judge says the gold. Wait, no, I'm reading old comments. My apologies. I think the 18-year-old or the 18-year real estate cycle is broken due to covet. I don't know what covet means in this context. I don't know the 18.5-year cycle well enough to. I'll pin Elsa's message here. I don't know the 18.5-year cycle well enough to like fully critique it, but for me, until it's actually broken, it's not broken, and I don't believe that it's actually been broken. But yeah, feel free to correct me if wrong. Anyways, and also one of the things that does kind of make me a little bit on edge about the real estate cycle in the way that Phil Anderson has presented it is that, well, I believe he focuses on the U.S. real estate market because, it is the biggest one, yada, yada. But other real estate markets are obviously different. I mean, from what I understand, when I read Jason Pizzino's tweets and when I talk to him, it sounds like the real estate market in Australia is still basically fucking vertical, which in my experience in America, it is not that way. In fact, the real estate market has been kind of in like a bear market maybe for the last year. And it's strange to me because it seems like major news headlines and stuff have not really seen this because probably they're looking at headline stats, and I imagine that middle America, the home values there are probably holding on and kind of skewing the data. But if you go to the places where people really want to, this sounds terrible, but people are really wanting to be because they're moving there and they're moving out, as well, like California, like Florida, like Arizona, like Texas, like all of these Sunbelt states, basically. You will find, at least what I've found when looking for houses in Florida, when looking for houses, in the Southwest as well, is that the prices are, one, coming down significantly, and two, I know through my own experience, through my parents who are trying to sell their own house in California, it's basically impossible. I mean, it's not basically impossible. They knock on wood, it seems like they hopefully have someone who wants to buy that godforsaken place. But it took them a very, very long time, well over a year, I believe, well over a year. And this is like supposed to be in a nice area and all, and all these sorts of things. And even that was very, very difficult. So I don't know what the hell these other people are looking at from these places that really saw the boom, coming after 2020. They have come down significantly from what I've seen in the past year and a half. I've seen prices come down 20 to 30% for properties that I was looking at. So yeah, man, it's that's a thing. Real estate is super variable depending upon the place that you're looking at. That's kind of the point that I'm making. And so I am in no way, shape, or form well-versed in real estate, but that would just make me intuitively think, okay, that makes these sort of cycle calculations really difficult to do. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I really have not been looking at real estate for that long. I'm just relating my experiences, and in lack thereof in that regard. But yeah, man. It seems to me like, it's very much a buyer's market right now, but there's no buyers. That's kind of the way that I see it. Because anytime I even look at a house and put a bid on it, it's like these fucking sellers will just jump on anything. Like you can, whatever price you're looking at, you can offer 10% lower easily. I mean, shit, you might even get 15 to 20% lower than what it already is. And that's like, what, a 35% correction from the high? I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Just don't want to get too greedy with it. Anyways, Hello Jaja says, for me, the best way to determine where Bitcoin in total goes, oh God, total, is to look at U.S. stocks, bonds, rates. Yeah, okay, let's actually look at total. First off, I don't think it's wise to look at total. I think probably total 3 is the best thing to be looking at because then you exclude Bitcoin, Ethereum, and dollar derivatives. But to be fair, like I can understand why people are bullish on this chart. It is not a bad chart right now. I mean, it's not a bad chart at all. The question is, does it correct first before trying the breakout, or does it break out from here? I mean, based off of what I think on Bitcoin, I think it's likely to correct first and then try a breakout. But hey, I'm happy to be wrong on this shit. I'm very happy to be wrong on this. You know, this thing could easily come down, in my opinion, about 10% and then try a breakout, you know, maybe last quarter of this year, maybe early 2026. But yeah, I mean, let's go to maybe like a bi-monthly, something like this. See what the hell is going on over here. Because again, the way that I see the market right now for Bitcoin very specifically, and we're not going to talk too much about higher term time frame stuff here during this analysis at least. But if I'm just relating my thoughts on the higher term time frame, either in my opinion, we're going to see about 2 to 3 months more of sideways and downside consolidation, and then probably another try to the upside in 2026, early 2026, I would imagine. Or Bitcoin just fucking really does do the parabolic move starting here, meaning whatever low that we've already seen for September is the low, and it is literally up only from here. You'll see a parabolic blow off top in November or December, you know, the traditional areas, and then you will see like a real bear market with Bitcoin coming down, 60 to 70%, I would imagine, which depending upon how high it gets, I mean, that could, bring you down. I mean, obviously it's going to be a significant number, but could very well bring you down and stay down below $100,000 for quite some time. But yeah, I'm still a little bit agnostic to it. However, I do certainly weigh towards towards the more prolonged version of that, meaning that I certainly am biased as of this moment towards sideways and downside for most of the rest of this year, and then a try to the upside. And again, I think that is a long-term bullish and very, very good thing, speaking towards the long-term viability and maturity of this asset, operating in a way that we've seen traditional market ETFs and in major winning stocks operate, which just these steps up, then sideways for a very long period of time, and then another step up without like any real bear markets. And I look at that as a good thing. I know that crypto degens do not look at that as a good thing, because if you don't get these parabolic blow off tops, then your altcoins are absolutely fucked in a boo cake sandwich. But it is what it is, man. Like, they're fucked anyways. It's just, do you get that last blow off top before heading down into despair, which is what happens to 99.9% of these damn things. And even for the ones that don't, they still have those blow off tops and come down severely, but they do find their footing later on. Just very, very rare that we even see some like that. But yeah, I guess actually just for my own knowledge, I'm kind of curious to look at Ethereum right here. Just because this one, if something is going to really make a move to the upside, it would seem like this one is in the best position to do so. And I don't know, man, you still got the same thing that we were looking at for the past few weeks. You retested the high over here. Very common to pull back from that. We've already gotten a pullback from that. Is it common for it to take some more time going sideways and then make the push? Yeah, definitely. I think that could be happening here. Looking at the quarterly, again, closing at the end of this month, any sort of a closure above 4,100 is absolutely good. I just think that you could still spend a couple months going sideways, putting in a base here, and then launching from there. But overall, I mean, as it stands, anything over 4,100 for Ethereum on this quarterly close is going to be, at least interpreted by me, as really fucking good. I mean, you have a reversal or you have a continuation of uptrend here on the quarterly time frame. You got high, you got low, you got same highs, you got higher low. If you already made a higher high above that last high with the higher low, it must be continuation, or at least the overwhelming bias must be towards continuation. But again, being that this is a quarterly time frame, this can take 3 to 6 months to play out. Like, it can take a long time. That's my point. So yeah. Jealousy and rage from the United Kingdom. I know, man. Everyone in the United Kingdom is apparently disastrously. It's just miserable. They're all miserable. No, of course not, man. I met some happy UK people, but they're very far and few between, man. They're very far and few between, unfortunately. That's just a European thing. It's just being miserable in general. Like, a lot of complaining going on. We in America complain as well. Don't get me wrong. We're very, very silly in our own ways. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. A boo cake sandwich. Yes, you understand exactly what you mean. Crown Sir, could you one day do a video for what you will do as a hodler when you feel the bear market just started? I can already tell you in just one sentence what I'll do. I'll continue to hold. I don't, my sort of strategy as a long-term holder is to hold for a minimum of 10 years. And if it has not been 10 years, I will not trade around that position. I will not do anything. Yes, as the sort of infrastructure for Bitcoin gets built up and we get real liquid options for Bitcoin on traditional markets, or if Coinbase really starts to offer them as well, then yeah, okay, maybe I might do some option positions around my spot holdings. But for right now, I just hold, and look, I'm completely fine with taking a 50 to 60 to 70% drawdown. It's fine, in my opinion, for my particular situation. Would I say that that's right for everyone? Hell no. Hell fucking no. If you are absolutely in need of that money, meaning that you do not have a 10-year horizon minimum, meaning that you could run into a situation where you need to access that liquidity, then yes, you probably should. I'm not going to say that you absolutely should, because again, everyone's situation is unique, but you very likely should trade around that position if that is the case. If it's not the case, then hey, maybe you can adopt my sort of mindset as well. But understand where I'm coming from, understand my situation. Maybe that applies to you, maybe it doesn't. I don't fucking know. So I can't say for everyone. I can just tell you what I'm doing and explain why, and hopefully that's valuable in some way. And understand, I don't think what I'm doing is obviously optimal. It is not optimal. 100% it is not optimal. It's just where I am and what I've resolved to do based off of my situation. That's all, man. Dale Lanes is nonviolent hate coming at you from the Gold Coast of Australia. Gold Coast, Australia looks absolutely gorgeous, by the way, man. I always say this when people comment from Australia, but Pizzino, the Pizzinos show me where they live, and it really is really fucking nice, man. It's really fucking nice. Like, Australia would be a great place if they had better tax and probably some better laws as well. But goddamn, I can totally understand why people want to stay there. It is gorgeous, man, as far as the environment goes. Absolutely gorgeous. At 30%, I'm panicking. Hey, what's up, Gallo? Panicking on what? Panicking on a drawdown? I mean, very well be that you should be panicking. Will St. Clair says, Crown, what would you recommend as a good size of startup capital to explore trading full time? Okay, so this is, again, a great question, but I'd really caveat this by saying, hey, what matters most, what matters most in deciding how much startup capital to explore trading full time, when you say explore trading full time, to me, that means you're very, very new at it. Maybe that's not the case, but if I'm correct in that way, I would say minimal, $10 or $100. You don't want to be putting capital at risk while you're in the learning phase. Naturally, the learning phase where you're actually starting to learn how to be consistently profitable will take time. I hope to make this as fucking abundantly clear as possible to anyone who's looking to get into trading as a profession. No matter what, what you're learning from, and I make this really fucking clear in my programs, or my program now, the Crown's Trading Bible, that look, in my experience, for the people who actually get there, because many people don't. It really depends on how much effort you put in, even if you have like the right brain for it to begin with. But for the people who really put the work in, I find on average it takes about a year and a half to maybe even 2 years of consistently trying. And when I say trying, I mean not like literally trading. I mean studying. I mean back testing. I mean doing all of the boring work, and yeah, trading a little bit here and there as well. If you've already done that and you already have a profitable strategy, then start with an equity. If again, you have a profitable strategy, you've verified that it's a profitable strategy, you've verified also that you can execute it profitably with a very, very low dollar amount, then I would use the minimum capital necessary to put on your trades and survive 5 maximum losses in a row. And that would be about what I'd want from my starting capital to have long-term, longevity, basically. What people do not understand is that we are not, if you're going to be a trader, you're playing a game of long-term statistics and probabilities, meaning that you must be in it for the long term. That's how they work for you. You cannot and should not ride and die on the one trade that's going to bring you to 1 million X. And I just have this person in my mind because of prior workshops that I've done, let's say, where, look, these are not bad people. They are just very ignorant people. And I'm not even saying this in a denigrating way. They quite literally just don't fucking know, and they are humans, and so they have all these crazy ideas without first learning, and they think that they are going to get into the crypto market, quickly get a 1000x, change around their disastrous financial situation, and immediately become rich. And that's just not gonna fucking happen. It is so unlikely to happen, and these people have been fed so many fucking lies about it happening. It honestly makes me sick. To be honest, it makes me sick, which is why you hear me sometimes get so fucking animated and so emotional when, you know, I read what is, in my opinion, a lobotomized comment, because this person, again, is just, they're just new. They just don't understand, and they've probably been told all these crazy things about what to expect in these markets. And it's just, in my experience, not fucking true at all whatsoever. And I've seen so many disastrous financial stories from people following these sort of things and getting the obvious, you know, the obvious response or the obvious outcome, which is not obvious to them, but in time is definitely obvious. Anyways, my point is, first, when you're learning and you don't have a profitable strategy, my strong advice would be to not put any money at risk. You can test your strategies using a paper account. You don't need to put money at risk. Then once you actually have a successful back test over a long period of time, you know, playing it out on a paper trading account, then put a very low dollar amount to work. You can put $100 and trade very small contracts just to get, you know, a little bit of experience with execution. From there, you can ramp things up, you know, as you prove to yourself that your shit's still working and that you're still able to actually play it out, assuming you're not using one of the automation tools that, you know, shit that we have like Quant Prime and stuff like that. You know, if you're actually doing it manually, you need to learn the skill of execution, and then you can ramp up from there. Sure. And that's where I'd say, you know, you come to that equation that I laid out earlier. But yeah, at the beginning, really nothing, honestly. Like, Jesus Christ, it blows my mind when these fucking guys get on, you know, the YouTubes or on the televisions and shit like that, and they're like promoting like actual trading for people who have not even learned how to press the fucking red and green button on a goddamn exchange. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, went on to a massive tirade there. And by the way, okay, no, I won't get into that next point because that's just, it's too doom and gloom, honestly. It's too doom and gloom. Sublime Property Group says, I am 3 years in and just went full-time 3 months ago. Hell yeah. I'm lucky to have passive real estate income to cover expenses each month. Yeah, it's a lot of work, as you say. Exactly. It's a fucking job. Like, people do not understand. Okay, not people, but generally people do not understand, like, if you want to be a day trader, it's not glamorous. It's not like this glamorous lifestyle, you know, that people have been fed. Yes, you can work from home. Fucking congratulations. You're going to be lonely, by the way, doing that. That's one of the reasons why I do YouTube, because I'm fucking lonely. You know, I have Elsa as well. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's nice. But of course, you know, you want other communications as well. But my point is that, hey, you know, look, if you're sitting in your fucking living room or your bedroom or wherever the fuck you're sitting, and you're thinking, oh, wow, this is going to be my great, you know, break to learn how to trade or learn how to play poker, or, you know, because it attracts the same fucking people. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but you're not considering that. It's not, you know, it's not that you don't have a job. You now have a job that is applicable all day, every day, which you can never break out of ever. So fucking congratulations. And now you're in charge of everything as well. You know, the nice thing about having a 9 to 5 is that, you know, you have a boss, they're the one in charge. Like, they can lose money. It doesn't really affect, I mean, it can affect you, yes, but it doesn't really affect you directly, in that you still likely will get paid, assuming that the business doesn't close. But, you know, the owner might actually lose money. In trading, you know, you can be the most successful trader of all time. You're still going to take all kinds of losses. In fact, all of them do. Yeah. And Trey only says kind of what I was getting at earlier. Too many influencers making people think anyone can do it. Look, I used to have a very holistic view and very kumbaya view that anyone who tries, anyone who puts the effort in, anyone at all who does the work can get there. And I can say now, after being public on YouTube and having my own programs and watching several people go through the process, yes, many people who do put in the effort can get there. Absolutely, yes. But there are some people who, in my opinion, or at least from what I've seen, I don't think that they will ever get there. And I'm just being fucking real with you. I'm just being as real as it gets, because I really don't think that they'll ever get there. This can come down to several things like trading addiction or gambling addiction. Those people exist. They cannot be successful. I've seen it. I've seen them like get into a good groove and then they'll just fuck themselves up, because it's just who they are. It's the chemistry in their brain. Is something going on. I don't know, but they cannot be consistent. They can't be fucking consistent. There's also some people who just like, look, I'm going to say some absolutely terrible things right now. Please don't hate me for what I'm about to say. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just saying what I believe to be true. I'm not trying to be mean or rude or anything like this. I'm just saying what I believe to be true. there is a certain sort of intelligence that you need for trading. I'm not saying that you need to have a high IQ, because I've seen several people with high IQs really struggle. But there's like a certain sort of mode of your mind that needs to be very much active that I think certain people gravitate towards. You know, this is like left brain, right brain type thinking, I guess. And certain people on the other side, they're just not going to get it. They're just not going to get it. They don't think in these ways. They don't think in the ways of statistics and probabilities. They can't even conceptualize it. They will never be successful with it. Their talents may be in other ways. They might be a great fucking artist. They might be a great dancer. They might be a great singer. You know, like their brain works differently. They're talented in other ways, perhaps, maybe not at all, which also is very possible. I mean, shit, you know, some people get dealt a really fucking awful hand, and you know, in life. But yeah, you know, I don't think that those people would have a chance, to be honest, because that's just what I've seen. That's just what I've seen. I've seen it many times now. It happens. It exists. And yeah, I'm sorry if that sounds very fucking rude, but yeah. So fair enough. Anyways, all right. Adria Lee says, the most important aspect of trading is embracing boredom and strictly adhering to your rules, completely opposite to the mindset of gambling. Yeah, I'd agree. In fact, the best like, you know, when you've really hit your stride as a trader, when you're just bored doing it, because it's just, do you get like fucking excited when you flip a coin and it's a heads or a tails? Obviously not, because it's all probabilities. So would you get excited if you win a trade when you have a 60% probability to win a trade? No, because you know that over time it's going to average out to those numbers anyways, so you can expect that, or around there at least. So you shouldn't be getting emotional about it anyways. All right, anyways. Still need some damn water. Patience is a virtue and virtue is a grace. Yeah, but I can also say I'm not a patient person at all. I'm like the opposite. I'm completely the opposite of patient. Anyways. All right, AVAX is ready to rock. Oh, dare I even look? If it's ready to rock, then everything needs to be ready to rock. And I think Bitcoin has some upside here, but I don't think it's breaking out to new highs. Yeah, I think that's going to be misguided. Anyways, let's get on to some actual analysis for the day. Let's do a little bit of that action. All right, just one moment. Yes, there we go. Okay, let's start off with some daily price action statistics. Of course, over here on Friday, let's wait for it to load. Yes, there we go. Friday's a little bit more favored in terms of positive closures over negative closures at 52.5% of all Fridays since this bull market began in 2023, closing positively. The average returns for those positive closing days was about 2.10%. That's actually about where Bitcoin's at right now, 113, 114, in fact. So literally where Bitcoin's at right now. If you did see earlier this morning when the unemployment data came out, Bitcoin initially spiked up to exactly this level here and then sold back down about $1,000. That is exactly what I mean by on the first test of one of these boundaries for the daily price statistics, you can typically get a nice quick scalp play. But the second time is certainly a lot less guaranteed. Now, this one very well may push back yet again, but I would say the second time, that's not the one that I would want to play. Of course, to the downside, which I do think is less likely to happen today, to be honest, just personal opinion, that would put a boundary at about 108,900, just areas to be interested in. And of course, if Bitcoin were even to close above 113 and about 150 or so, I would say that's good enough to initiate the next sort of leg of this bounce. And of course, to add on to the likelihood that Bitcoin and the rest of this market is likely to bounce in the short term rather than not, I want to bring back up the meta signal setup over here. Of course, this one has already hit target number 1. I know a lot of people are giving me shit for this one. Look, I'm just showing the numbers, just showing the statistics, just showing the probabilities. Whatever you get from that is your own fucking mental illness. Like, relax. Just numbers. Relax. Anyways, target number 1 with a 74.25% strike rate, or almost that, did get hit, obviously. Target number 2, which has a just over 57.5% strike rate to get hit, is 117. I personally think that is a legitimate target that Bitcoin could very well get to, or at least quite close to. Target number 3, I do think is quite unlikely, but hey, that's just my opinion. 45.5% would be the probability associated with that. But following up on this, to round out the likelihood of Bitcoin bouncing, one, as we identified coming into this week, the weekly CME HPDR is bouncing off of the 38.2 level right here. And so we do expect to bounce off that on first pass. And yes, there is a nice little gapola at around 116 or 116 and a half for CME as well. And we can also see that the median on the HPDR, which is right now 120, is very likely going to come down to open up next week. And I imagine, just eyeballing it, and I very well may be wrong on this, but we'll know for sure on Monday, I imagine it'll be somewhere around about 117. It should come down around there. So that'll be a natural area of interest. On top of this, we can also see the continuation for the daily stochastic momentum, which we identified. Whoops, I'm on the wrong chart, which we identified over here. I think this was a couple days ago on maybe Monday, is freshly turning up from the lows. And yes, there is a nice trend line regression coming in from the last couple highs, which I suspect is probably going to come into play somewhere around here. But that would still imply in the short term, we do see at least a few more days of momentum pointed towards the upside, as this one's showing upside as long as Bitcoin's above 108,200 on a daily closing basis. Now, on top of this, if we go back over here, we can also acknowledge that I believe it was the 3-day time frame is really obvious right here with 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish evidence coming off of these last few lows. And so again, I think that you've already hit all of the certainly very easy targets on this one, but it very likely leads a little bit higher. I would guesstimate somewhere between 116 to 117. We could also look at a Fibonacci retracement here just to kind of get some areas of interest. And we could see, basically 115, 750 is a 50% level. That should be a big area of interest. And then we got 117, 750. So, personally, I think somewhere in between here kind of makes a lot of sense for a bounce over the next week or two, however long it ends up being, I don't fucking know, but somewhere around there would kind of make a lot of sense. And then, I think a lot of the things that we spoke about in yesterday's video are still the most likely thing to happen, at least as of right now. The only way I'd really change my opinion on that is if September closes green. But of course, that'll naturally take another, three weeks to figure out, or a little bit more than 3 weeks to figure out. This is going to take some time, is my opinion. But hey, if September does close green, I would be a fool not to be bullish coming into the end of this year, and that probably plays into a parabolic blow off top situation. So fair enough. Anyways, we spoke about that. I'm just kind of going through my notes here. Yes, okay, targets on the bounce. Yeah, I think we spoke about kind of all of those things right now. Quick check-in on the quantum wave bands for the hourly strategy. This one definitely struggled big time on the last reversal from the all-time high. Did take a pretty nasty trade right here. But at the end of the day, man, again, this one is all about the long-term stats. Let me actually just go to it right now. Has taken a nice little, that's typically what happens when you get one of those big moves off of the highs. But you can see already making it back in the last couple trades. Boom, nice one right here. And this one's open from, or the most recent one's open from 108,550. So as always, it's a long-term game. It's a long-term game, and the long-term results are all about, the long term. So ultimately, big loss followed by a couple of big gains. Just the name of the game, man. That's why I say, I hope to make this so fucking painfully clear. If you over leverage yourself and you fuck yourself on a drop like this, then you unfortunately will miss out on the periods where you get that overperformance, which happens actually in this case rather soon after that on this big trade right here. And then this trade, which is actually still open. I mean, that's a $5,000 trade right now, or close to it. 48, little over $4,800, price. So fair enough. Anyways, that is all to say. In the short term, still looking for a bounce on Bitcoin. Higher term time frame still make me very cautious over these next few months. If September closes green, I will change my opinion on that. Until then, I will not. And then of course, we also got our nice little shill sale going on over here for Labor Day. It ends on Monday, so another few days left on it. 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the teachable link in the description below. No exclusions, no nothing like that. You can even get free trials on most of the programs now too, or most of the indicator services as well, so you can try it out for yourself. See if it's for you, see if it's not for you. I think that's the best way to do things. And then if you even want a 20% discount on top of that, check out that code as well. Cool. All right, nice. Let's get into some comments, some good old comments over here. Elsa's already got a bunch lined up for me. I'm going to take a sip of this water in the meantime. Elsa's laughing, which is very rude. This is not a funny game. This is a very, very serious crypto Bitcoin channel. Anyways, Steven Schickman, I could have already guessed. Doggy, daily, weekly. Let's check it out, man. Doggy. So the last week we basically said nothing's changed on this analysis. And I have to say again, sir, nothing has changed on this analysis. Above 22.5 cents, good. Below 20.5 cents, bad. Until we get a resolution from one of these sides, you're literally about right in the middle of there with a slight favor of the upside, I suppose. But yeah, even then, while I actually do think this one has a pretty good threat to actually take out this 22.5 cent level, I wouldn't necessarily call it breakout from there, but I would call it a pretty big move towards, percentage move towards, a quarter, somewhere between there and 28 cents would look about right to me. Yeah. And if this thing actually, I would go as far to say this though, Mr. Steven, is that if this thing could definitely trade above August high, which is 25.5 cent, that should be good enough for like a real continuation move here. At that point, I actually do think that this thing would reach above, 32 to 33 cents, something like that. But again, long way left to go. I still would not call it right here. It's looked up, it's looked down, it's looked sideways. I still think it looks sideways, to be honest. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's certainly not the easiest chart today. I'd be looking for other shitcoins, honestly, as like obvious indications of direction. Because if we see a lot of shitcoins today that really look like they want to fucking explode, then kind of put Dogecoin as a likely candidate as well. But for right now, I don't have like a strong bias on it. Crypto Rect says nobody. This is a new one. Nobody coin. Oh, nobody sausage. Okay. All right. This actually very good. I'm not going to lie. This is probably about one of the better charts we're going to see today, in fact. And this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. We have a shitcoin here this is fucking bullish. It's nearly a bullish engulfing dildo as well. You do have, as according to the price action pivots indicator, a nice little symmetrical triangle. There is an implied move to be made off of this. That would be around a little over 10 cents. So maybe you're about 20% away from that right now. Yeah. Overall, I think that this one, this kind of has a lot of what you want in a newer shitcoin. One, it's in an uptrend. Two, it's very new, so it doesn't have all of the overhead hang from past, lobotomized buyers. And in this case, if you're going to pick any sort of shitcoin, I pick this one over Dogecoin, that's for sure, man. Andy VW says, please look at IRDM stonks. Nice. I like looking at the stonks. IRDM, yeah, iridium, okay, or iridium, some precious metals here, I'm guessing, or some shit like that, or I don't know. Anyways, sounds important, sounds like a commodity. Anyways, let's see, where are we at in the grand scheme of things? Yeah, so the grand scheme of things, this thing absolutely collapsed since 2023. It's come all the way down to the monthly 200 simple. I highly suspect this is a low over here. I just think it's going to take a long time to kind of grind out this level. Like, I don't think you're going to do this. I don't think you're going to do that at all. I do think you might get a bounce here. You might come back down, trade sideways, and then after some painful, long sideways years, you might get another try to the upside. But yeah, I think this one's more or less done with the downside. It might retest this low. Yeah, that's fine. But I don't think it's going to be making new lows anytime soon, man. I know you didn't, or you did ask about a monthly, so fair enough. If I'm going to a weekly, I guess maybe you get a short-term bounce here, but I just don't think that is relevant at all for the long term, because it sounds like you're very long term, in which case I don't think you're going to be trading out of this zone of like $36 to the upside versus $20 to the downside for a very long time, like a very long time, man. Crypto Rex says BERTUSDT on daily. Love you, mate. I love you as well, sir. BERTUSD. Let's see. Bertram the Pomeranian. Is this a... Oh, God. Bert, the Bert dog. Again, not terrible. Not terrible for the short term. The weekly is going to have a chance here. Well, it's not going to have a chance here to do a bullish engulfing, or at least unlikely. But I do think, hey, why is this here? How the fuck have I looked at this chart and put the code on there? Like, what the fuck? Okay, that would seem unlikely to me. Anyways, short term, I do think that the rally will continue. Like I said, for Bitcoin as well, I do think that one's going to try higher too. So I think a lot of these things are going to get free rides. This one would be in a pretty good position if that is the case. I think you get another retest of like basically your highs. Probably does make new highs from there, honestly. Looking at the weekly. Overall, it's an uptrend. I'm always going to respect an uptrend, even if it is a piece of shit meme coin that probably has no real value, but trends do have value. And in this case, I'd be biased towards upside overall. And I'll generally be bullish on this thing as long as you're above about 6 cents, honestly. All right, we got the IRDM. Very nice. Giles DeBosch says, hello, sir. What's up, man? Could you please take a look at LINKUSD on the daily and weekly? Yeah. Link should also be an interesting one to be checking out because it has showed relative strength kind of recently. Is it still holding on to that? No. Well, I mean, in the very, very short term, no, because it's not at the highs like some of the other ones are. But again, you know, this is kind of similar to Ethereum in the way that I look at things because you retested basically what is your, you know, your high, more or less. It's very common to pull back from that high and spend some time going sideways and then very likely another try to the upside after a higher low is set in. But is this the next higher low right here? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And in fact, if I'm looking at this, I mean, maybe there's a short-term pop back up to 25 bucks. Maybe yes, maybe no, but I'm going to say what I've said before on this thing. I think that you're still likely to come back a little bit closer to 21 bucks, somewhere around there, and then try for the higher low. Can I be wrong about that? Does it even matter to you? I don't fucking know, but generally, I think that this one still corrects a little bit more sideways and down and then tries the upside move. But overall, again, you know, this is fine. This is good. You got higher highs, higher lows on the monthly. I just think you might pull back to 20 or 21 bucks first and then try the upside. I really wouldn't be even like concerned about this one, especially as long as you're above about $20 even, at least on a daily closing basis. So yeah, Crypto Rect is back. He's looking at Syrup. Well, my bad. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to fuck things up all the time. I appreciate the feedback, but yeah. Anyway, Syrup, yeah, as we said before, man, this is good. This is good. And in fact, it looks like it followed through from our last analysis. I really don't have much to add on to that. I think it's going back up here, man. Back up to very deep 50s, maybe 60s. I mean, this thing might even just make new highs from here, honestly. This is, again, in the short term, going to be considered among the better of the charts. Certainly for today, it is testing the underside of this price action pivot extension, which surprisingly enough does seem to matter in this case. I don't know if I don't think it holds, but yeah, overall, I think this one is a lot more important right here. It is breaking alongside a bullish EMA cross. Yeah, I think it's going back up somewhere around 60 cents or so. Maybe even continues with a new all-time high. Very possible. And then Useless. Love the channel. Been here since 2021. Hell yeah. We love it. We fucking love it, sir. Useless coin. Okay, Useless coin. You know, short term, it might bounce a little bit more, but this one's bad compared to all of the other decent ones that we've seen today that are already kind of, you know, putting in those higher lows, working their way back towards those prior rally highs. This one is not of that same nature. I do think you might get a rally to like 22-ish cents, but in my opinion, this one is entering into a long-term downtrend. Most likely. So yeah, short term, maybe 22 cents or 23 cents, something like this. But this to me looks like a blow off top, honestly. And I think that this one is eventually going to come back down to 10 cents overall after this bounce, however large it is, plays out. Maybe 23 cents on the upper end, maybe 22 cents or 21.5 cents on the lower end. I don't know, somewhere around there, though, kind of makes sense. But yeah, this one definitely, objectively just not as good as the other like super shit coins that we've seen. So yeah, if I had to choose between those, I'd be choosing the other ones, man. Thinking about the name says AVAXUSD short and long term. So yeah, AVAX has been kind of coiling up with these higher lows here. I'm never going to hate higher lows. I'm just skeptical of this thing because, well, it's not fucking good. The problem with this thing is, in my opinion at least, is that even if you do break out here, I think that this rally is, even if you were to break out here above like 27 bucks, I think that the rally is going to be arrested by that white toned symbol, which is 32 bucks or so. Daily time frame, I would have a bullish bias in the short term as long as you're above this higher low. I guess it's literally the same chart as what we looked at before for the past couple of weeks now, or at least like the past week and a half. I'd generally be bullish as long as you're above about 22 and a half bucks. But the second that this thing comes back down below 22.5 bucks, I'd be very quick to get very, very bearish on this, looking for, bounce along the way, but very likely back down to, 16, 17 bucks. Until then, this one does have a short-term bullish bias. It'll be confirmed with a daily close above about 25.75. At that point, I do think that you will make a move up here to about 32 bucks, but that would be the next major area of interest I'd be looking for on another lower high, because this thing has a history of failing all of its real rallies, which is, in my opinion, never a good thing, never a good sign. Thinking about the name is back. He's looking at SEI. SEI. Okay, SEI. Very similar chart. Well, actually, not that similar. It's just this one's just generally down only, but so not good, man. Look, I am kind of biased towards most things in this market bouncing in the short term. If this one wants to bounce more, I'd be looking somewhere around like 32 to 33 cents or so, but I would be treating this one as bearish as long as you're below 36 cent, this 36 cent high from the middle of August. As long as you're below there, I look at this as yet another failed rally attempt, just like all of the ones, preceding it. But yeah, it's still in the short term, I kind of think it's more likely to rally here a little bit. Let's see. You got a little bit of bullish divergence populating there. So yeah, I do think that you could extend this run a little bit more. It's just I would be biased towards this one failing overall because that's what it likes to do. It likes to fail. Yeah, when I look at them, I mean, I just hate these charts, man. I really fucking despise these ones. Only way I'd really change my opinion on this thing is if you did pop back above and close a weekly dildo above 37 cents. I think it's unlikely, but yeah. That would be my condition for that. And even then, I mean, shit, would I even call for like a, new highs? No, I'd be calling for a move towards like 55 cents, even if that. But yeah, look, I don't want to be feeding you hope here or nothing like that here, man. This is fucking hot garbage. Just straight up. It's ugly as fuck. Whatever rally you get, I'd just be expecting it to fail, to be honest. Sol, you want to look at some Solanas? Yeah, I should have it on my list here somewhere. I'm sure I haven't deleted it. Where is she? I feel like very few people care about this one anymore, which might be a good sign, honestly. Of the majors, this one's the most constructive in the short term. That's for sure. It's kind of similar to, I forget, maybe it was AVAX chart in that you do have in the short term a bunch of higher lows here, but this one also has higher highs. So this one's objectively better again. I'd be looking at this low right here as a nice pivot, 194 and a quarter. As long as you're above there, I'm generally bullish. Your price action pivot to the upside here at 213 would be my next sort of breakout indication, meaning that if you close a daily above there, I'd be looking for, this thing to fly up. This thing might fly up to like 240 region. I mean, this thing could actually be quite good. But yeah, that would be my trigger for that. Until then, respect the trend. The trend is the upside. The trend is your friend right now to the longers. There are some indications that, this move is getting a little bit tired, but hey, I'm going to always favor trend over everything else. So yeah, I'd be treating it bullish as long as you're above about 194. Weekly actually looks quite good to me. But still really would want to see it close above about 213 before I get excited for the next major leg up, let's say. So fair enough. John Dude, what's up, man? Litecoin derp, the Litecoin derp, yes. Let's see, if Litecoin derp is rallying, then we got a real problem. Litecoin, Bcash, XRP, although I don't think you can say that one anymore. But yeah, this one again, it's looking like it wants some upside here. It's looking like it wants some upside. You do have a falling wedge or a falling pizza here on the price action pivots extensions. I would say a closure basically here or higher by end of day, 114.5 should propel a move back towards 120 plus. Not as good as many of the other ones that we've seen, so it's still kind of a laggard overall. But here's my rule, man. On the monthly, especially when you're above all major moving averages, can't really be bearish until at least you're below the red moving average. And right now, it's obviously using that. It's using it to kind of bounce off of and base off of. I would get quite bearish on this thing if you did close below 106 or 105 region. But until then, most of these things, if they're going to have their day in the sun, I think that's coming up. But we shall see. On the 10 and 20 day, I don't have a 20 day. I'll look at a 10 day. I'm not getting anything from the 10 day. That's unique, man. I don't know, maybe there's a next higher low right here, but it doesn't really change the analysis, honestly, because that's still, this low anyways. Fair enough. I'd be looking for this one to likely follow through up here again, pending its closure or its ability to close above about 114.5 or above. Get with the hype says Tesla on the daily weekly. Gotcha. Nice. Look at some real stonks. We've been bullish on this one for a while. I'm still bullish on it. Again, same rule here on the monthly or above all major moving averages. It's using the red 5 EMA to base off of. I think that this one's probably putting its next higher low here, honestly. Just need to see it trade above last quarter's high of 367 and 3/4, and I think that this one goes back to 400 plus. Yeah. Only way I'd get bearish on this one is if you come back down below 325. Until then, the trend is your friend, sir. The trend is your friend. AC Aquatic says, can you please look at opens? Oh, nice. Another stonk. Nice. This is good. We like stonks. We like stonks a lot. But it's the stonk. Is it on, what exchange is it on? I'm guessing, well, oh no, it's NAVs is right in front of my face. I'm a fucking moron. Anyways, yes, so you are looking weekly, monthly. Let's start high. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these charts. Okay, so what instantly stands out to me is, of course, this long-term down. Yes, you have had a really impressive move right here, but look, this just looks like your average shitcoin chart to me. You're right at the monthly 55 EMA at about $7. This would be a great place for this thing to stall out on. It might get a few wicks above. That's fine, but really, I don't think you're gonna do this, man. I think you're gonna top out around here, come back down. Can I be wrong about it? Obviously, there's always a possibility, but I've just seen these things too many fucking times, man, and it makes me like very cautious when shit like this rallies. It's the same thing as like seeing a random shitcoin rally up significantly to like the next major area of interest, and then you're like, oh god, like is this thing really gonna do that? Yeah. So fair enough. Anyways, Gallo, what's up, Mr. Gallo? I've been entering meta signals near the stop loss and I made a decent amount of money this week. Fuck yeah, man. I'm looking for trouble, or will I tend to miss more trades? You will miss more trades. That is a trade-off here. But that's a completely valid way to look at it, Gallo. I think that's completely fine. What you're doing, I love, honestly, because you are taking these setups, you are absorbing the setups, and then you're making it your own. Like you're putting your own spin on it. So you're not just being a fucking unthinking moron. You're actively using your mind. And I agree. The presumed entry on many of these meta signal setup, in my opinion, could be better. There are going to be some instances, however, where they just take off exactly from the entry to the first target or two. Very possible. You will give up those trades. Absolutely. And technically, by not entering exactly where it proposes, that can fuck up with that, or that naturally will change the statistics associated with these trades. That is true. But at the same time, I would say you're still probably going to be fine, honestly. And more importantly, I just like the fact that you're making these things your own. Yeah, I think entering somewhere in like the midpoint of the red zone, more often than not, will get filled. And you get a better entry. So you're also, instead of taking the trade at face value, for the ones that would lose, you'd have less of a loss, which is good. And then, yeah, you're going to miss out on some winners as well. But if you're okay with that trade-off, which is completely valid, I think that's fine, man. I don't think you're looking for trouble. I think you are actually doing something very respectable, which is making these things your own, which I fucking love, man. I absolutely fucking love that. So, yeah. MUSDT, meme core. Oh, boy. Meme core. The meme core. Oh, it's MUSDT. Okay. Well, it's really fucking bullish, so that's actually a really good sign. Yeah, one of these super new ones. Yeah, again, I'm not gonna lie. This kind of shit does make me a little bit on edge. There's not really much for me to do on something like this because like it's way too new to have a real analysis on it. I can pull a Fibonacci extension and tell you some areas of interest. I guess the next one's really like $1.90 to $2. But I'm really not going off of much, so I don't really have like a real analysis on something like this, man. Even the lower term timeframes, I mean, yeah, you got some bearish divergence on the hourly time frame, but that's going to come and go quite quickly. If you do want to correct in the short term, the obvious area of interest would be about $1.50. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. I don't know, man. Just let this one do its thing. It's this is one of those just popping off crazy shit coins, right? So fair enough. Fair enough. Jesse Marshall says, how's Radium look? Well, we can look at it and I can give you my opinion on the chart, sir. I just did MUSDT. Elsa not listening as usual. And she thinks it's funny, but she's going to be getting fired very soon. How does it look? Long term, absolutely disastrous, man. Absolutely fucking disastrous. This is a god-awful chart that only a mother could love. Is it going to enter into another one of these pump phases here that inevitably fails over a long period of time? Probably yes. Probably yes. I mean, like I said, most things in this market right now, should be taking this opportunity to put in some rallies, as Bitcoin does have a rally off the bottom side of its range. In this case, I would say in the short term, it's weaker. It's weaker compared to many things that we've seen today. And I would even confirm a breakdown if this thing were to close a daily dildo below 320. Below 320, I think that this thing is coming back down to 360 or so. And it might even just fall apart from there. But until then, given the context of this market right now, it does seem that most things are using this opportunity to actually put in some pretty decent bounces. This is certainly not among them. So it's certainly on the very much weaker side. That doesn't mean that I can't bounce here as well, but for fuck's sake, man, like keep your eye on that number, because as long as it's above that number, I guess there's a little bit of hopium here. I don't necessarily subscribe to it, but you know, the second that it really starts to close below this number, I think that there's a real problem. Until then, I guess there's a little bit of hope in front of the rally, maybe back up to 380 or $4. APROD says, can we please have analysis on XLM monthly? Sure. So it's basically like a XRP brother, some shit like that. Definitely not as good as XRP in terms of charts. In terms of long term, still has not made new highs. So again, I'm not saying that it's never going to make new highs, but you know, it's just not a good sign when the stronger one already has made new highs. Like that's just never a good thing. It's not a good game to play with catch-up. Catch-up is the worst fucking possible game to play in trading or investing. I can assure you of this. Holy shit. This is like one of the most misunderstood things. And the more that I get into long-term investing, the more and more that I realize that this is an absolute truth. There is no virtue in being the last one to rally. There is no virtue in being the last one or even number two to make new all-time highs. There's absolutely no virtue in that. There's no virtue in this one as well, man, in my opinion. Now, do I think that this one's also going to try some upside? Probably yes, but just pound for pound, it's not fucking as good as the other options. Daily time frame, do I think it's going to rally here? Yeah, I do think it's going to rally. I do think it's probably going to rally back up towards like 40 cents. I'd be very, very cautious about this one as long as you're below about 47, about 47 and a quarter. If this thing could pop back above, above 47 and a quarter, at that point, I would say, hey, this thing's ready to, retest your 2024 high, something like this. But until then, I think you get a short-term pop, but this thing just loves to fail as well. So it's like, does it pop up here? Which is a big move. It's a big fucking move, but then turns back down. Wouldn't be surprised. Plonker says, hey man, what was the fib course you got for your birthday? I'm interested. No, it was actually one of these like apps on your phone that Elsa bought for me. It's called the Great Courses Plus, and there's like literally thousands of courses in there, but just one that kind of caught my eye because it's surprisingly like on the front page. I don't know how they knew that I was going to be interested in that shit, but it was a course on Fibonacci in the Fibonacci sequence, like in life, and yeah. I can dig it up if you're really, really interested. But the app was called The Great Courses, and if you just type in Fibonacci there, I'm sure there's probably only one. I'd be surprised if there's more, but hey, I would be complaining if there was. Anyways, all right. The dude on Twitter says, Energy Web Token EWT. Can you have a look, please, and share your mic ref? My mic ref? What's my mic ref? Anyways, oh, you mean what microphone I'm using? It's just a. I don't know. It's the new Shure one, not the SM7B, but the the one that uses USB. It's like not as good, but still pretty good. Anyways, EWT, terrible, absolutely god awful, man. Now again, am I not saying most things are taking this opportunity to put in those one-off rallies? In my opinion, this one barely even hold on to the lows, which is just not a good sign, man. Like I do think I am biased towards most things rallying in the short term, honestly. But like even this thing's already fucking weak. It's just ugly, man. Like these things are just fucking garbage, dude. Again, I'm not calling you a garbage person, but this is a fucking garbage chart. Like it really is. It's just terrible. It's just like awful, man. These things need to be nuked. These things need to be removed from existence. Look, if it bounces up, maybe it moves back up to like 160 or 170, but it's fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting, man. Down only in an up only market. It's just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic, man. Hyperliquid. Yeah, we can look at Hyperliquid. Where's my Hyperliquid? I know I have it on my list here. Wait a second. It's There it is. Okay. Yeah, this one has also been amongst one of the better ones. And again, I just want to acknowledge, like, look, when you see something that is acting well, it's typically going to act more well over time. Like these other shit charts that we've seen today, yes, at some point they might go up a little bit compared to where they are right now. I don't think that they're ever going to enter into long-term uptrends, but for fuck's sake, you're every second that you're in one of those shit things, you're missing out on the opportunity to be in something that's actually moving in your direction. I'm not saying that has to be this one, but for fuck's sake, man, like there are many options that look infinitely better. Anyways, Hyperliquid, again, among the best ones. We have a new higher low here now, so I'll move the LARP line. We've already gotten that bounce. We can basically do the next LARP line right here. I think you're going to do something like this, man. I'd generally be bullish on this one as long as you hold above last Sunday's low of 42.5 bucks. Below 42.5 bucks, this one does fall apart and very likely will come back down to mid to low 30s, but still this one in a better position than most. I mean, it's already at basically all-time highs. The trend is your friend, man. The trend is your friend. So that's what I'd be saying about that, man. That's what I'd be saying about that. Agni says, Aether, analysis, please. It falls in the D-pin sector. What is your take on it, good sir? Please, please, please. Oh, he was spamming? Okay, yeah, then fuck you, sir. Sorry, but I mean, it's fucking annoying, dude. Like, for real. Like, think about it this way. You're watching a couple people having conversation, like a private conversation together, and then you come into their face like, hey, can you look at Aether, please? Please look at Aether. Have you seen Aether? Please look at Aether. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, you crazy, sick person. Stop it. Like, stop. Anyways. Oh, Bitcoin already pulling back. Oh, no, it's over. We're poor again. I mean, that is kind of what it is. Anyways. For the volatility momentum setup, which time frame do you use for a volatility trigger above 15%? My man, it was in yesterday's video. It's a 5-day time frame. It's a 5-day time frame. Aether is shit anyways. I mean, most things are shit, honestly. Like most things, like really whenever see, I've been looking at shitcoins now for 7 years at the request of people. And I've come to the conclusion that 98% of the time you look at a random shitcoin, it's going to be bad. It's just what I found. That's just what I found. Anyways. It's over. It's over again. Bitcoin 1 minute for the fun. Probably is actually quite fun right now. The crazy thing is though, this isn't even really like a volatile time for Bitcoin. But yeah, just straight down. Oh my God, it's been straight down for 10 minutes. It's never going to go up again. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about a bounce here. It's very possible. Very fucking possible. We shall see. Again, my long-term view remains the same. Correction sideways and down. Thoughts on silver? That could be interesting. Let's see. I would imagine it's probably following gold. And it is following gold. We've been bullish on silver for many moons now, and I will continue to be bullish on it. I do think you're going to hit a high relatively soon for the exact same reason that we spoke about on a few other ones, like Ethereum most recently. You're hitting around these prior highs, very likely to pull back somewhere in this region. Maybe on the lower end, 44 bucks, maybe on the upper end, like 50 bucks, but somewhere around there. I think you're setting up for another like big pullback, sideways and downside consolidation, and then likely continuation again. This is good. It's very, very good long term. Mike's Mind and Matter says that's optimistic crown. It's 99.9%. I mean, honestly, probably is, but the shitcoin people get really, really mad when you say that, man. But it's just a mathematical truth. Like most of these things are destined towards the same doom. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Pump fund, please. We can look at pump fund, I guess. I mean, like, look, I'll tell you this, man. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This thing is the epitome of such things, but winning some good prizes right here. Actually, I mean, to be fair to this thing, it does have a higher low and made a higher high over here. I do think you pull back in the short term, but might have another rally. Then again, I mean, it is like a literal shitcoin of a shitcoin. So how much do you trust stuff like this? If you can't read through the sarcasm, not much. Uh-oh, Bitcoin's coming down even more. What sort of news has come out now? Can you check NVIDIA hourly and daily? Yeah, let's check it out. NVDA. See if stonks are coming down as well. They are. Ooh, hard. Very hard. Wow. NVIDIA is breaking down here like a real breakdown. I think this one's coming down to 155, 157 region. Reconnect with the weekly 21 and the monthly 5. Should be a bounce attempt there. I don't know if it's going to be the next major low, but yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. No, he wants you to pump your fist for fun like this, like a Jersey Shore. We've been watching the Jersey Shore recently because we got this TV. It's like this one. It's one of these super cheap TVs, and it comes with free live TV. And I haven't watched live TV in like maybe 20. Okay, not 20 years, but like 15 years probably. And there's a Jersey Shore channel. There's also, oh my God, people need to know about this. 50 Cent has his own channel. Did you know that? He has his own channel, 50 Cent Action. It's actually one of my favorite channels on the live TV. I'm not even joking. And I was very curious at first because the channel's name is literally 50 Cent Action or something like this. I'm like, is it okay? Do they actually mean like fucking 50 Cent? And then there was a commercial and 50 Cent is saying like, yo, check out my channel. Did I do near? I did not do near. Let me see. Near this thing? Near protocol. Nearly shitty as fuck, sir. Nearly shitty as fuck. Is it doomed? I mean, it's already been doomed, sir. It's been doomed for a very long time. Now, my LARP blind actually did draw out this correction here from about a year ago. That is pretty funny. It has it going back up to highs. I don't know about that. That seems very optimistic to me. I do think, look, this, in my opinion, it is doomed long-term if you mean it's ever going to get back above even your December highs at $8.50. Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to do that, honestly. Can it have rallies? Maybe rallies to $4.50. I mean, that's a big move, but, you know, it's probably not what you're looking for if you're asking if it's doomed. Long-term, the direction is the same for this thing as most things. Just, you know, you get your pops, they all fail, they go down. If this one wanted to pop here, I would be looking at like $4. I'm not even saying it's gonna do that, but if it were to, somewhere around $4 to $4.50 and then back down. That's kind of, you know, how I'd be looking at shit like this, man. Or wait, hold on. All right, Lenny, I don't mean to, this is not about you, sir. I'm just gonna read the comment. Sir, is near doomed or is a 50% retrace of $21 possible? $21? 21? Wait, you can't possibly mean 21 because, hold on. Do you mean a 50% retracement like back up to fucking $11.50? No. I mean, look, anything's possible. The probability of it though, incredibly low. I think you're closer to, you're more likely to go to $2 over time. Like I said, maybe get a pop here because some of these things in this market look like they're kind of primed to do such, but the direction still for the medium and long term, in my opinion, is the same. I think that we're in a long-term corrective period and short-term kind of bouncy period. But even then, I mean, Bitcoin just it's kind of a hard rejection right there. A little bit too early to really judge it though, I suppose. I'd really wait for today's daily and weekly closure on CME and then go from there. But let's actually see how that looks like. We are on a 10-minute delay, so that'll come down a little bit. If it closed below like 111.5 on CME, then I guess that could be problematic in the short term, but I don't know, man. A lot of things point towards a likely bounce attempt out of this region instead of going lower than the current low already. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if that doesn't happen. The short term is a lot more, the short term right now is a lot more difficult for me. You know, I just don't have strong opinions on it right now than I do on the shit that we spoke about on yesterday's video. What's up, Asti? Good morning to you. Near back to $8 to $9 and I'm gone. Fair enough. Hey, it's a fair thing to want, sir. It's a fair thing to want. Thank you for reposting the stream, Mr. Trevor Knight. Appreciate it, man. What up, Mr. Cab B? How you doing, man? Good morning to you. Near as fucked. Oh my word, $3 is good. Near as near death. Yeah. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm just having like, hopefully no one takes things that I say too seriously or too personally on the internet. I generally do not mean it, unless I literally say I intend for this to be bad. But I don't think I ever have said that. Maybe once, if like someone was, I don't know, wishing death and illness upon myself, and I don't know. Don't even think that that's honestly happened. Yeah, I mean, honestly, people don't understand my, you know, if I'm serious or not, like, or when I'm serious, it's kind of In many cases, their issue. Anyways, Paul Witt says, hey, Crown, when you was building your account, what was your annual percentage goal? I've hit 20% for the past 2 years. I think that's really fucking good, man. 20%, you know, growth on your equity year over year, that's really fucking good. What was my goal? Look, my goal was to continue with the with growing it. No, I didn't have like a specific percentage in mind, because I don't think that you can think like that, man. You can't expect the market to give you something because it doesn't owe you anything. And it's very possible, you know, you might run into one of these events where, you know, you get a black swan and it destroys all of your forwards projections. So I found that that's not a wise thing to do, because it also can start to drive you to do stupid things. Like, think about it this way. If I am expecting to get 20% and then I'm only at 10%, which is good, you know, if you're going by traditional market metrics, near the end of the year, then maybe I start to do some stupid stuff near the end of the year, taking on more risks than I really should be, not following my actual plan. And what happens then? Then my 10% gain turns into a loss or no gain at all. So yeah. Gallo says Uni 8 hour, see bull divs. I don't really like the 8 hour time frame, to be honest. I like the 6 hour time frame, which is close. You see some bull divs. I agree. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 coming off these last few lows. But it did just get a rally to the 55. And so that is the easy target for that move. And I mean, this is a hard rejection, man. I think that this one's more likely to come back down to these 9.25 lows. Maybe it tries another bounce from there. Let's see what the long term looks like. It might try another bounce from there, honestly. Like I said, I don't have strong biases in the short term, but if I did, my bias would still be on a bounce instead of going lower for Bitcoin. Bitcoin might retest the lows from here. That's possible. But making new lows is a different thing than retesting old lows. I mean, I might be fucking massively wrong. It really is just down from here. But it would make more sense to me to bounce first and then down and then down. It's just a little bit too easy if things head down from here. Like, it's kind of becoming a guilty pleasure to just be bearish. But I guess if this thing were to close below 910, then yeah, I suppose I'd be looking for a big downside move, for like a real fall apart, catastrophic move back down to like 8.25, 8.5, something like that. I mean, generally just another move back down to the lows, because that's what this thing likes to do. I mean, you don't have to trade shit like this, Mr. Gallo. Your prior comment, Gallo, I love it, man. Lots of respect. This comment, though, why are you trading this garbage? Why? You don't need to. There's plenty of opportunity on Bitcoin, man. There's plenty of opportunity on Bitcoin and even Ethereum. This thing, you don't need to play the stupid games with only stupid prizes. Have to see how the day finishes in Bitcoin. Yeah, I agree, man. It's a little bit early for this one, but I mean, look, if I do want to be bearish exactly from here, I guess there are some good reasons. You're still below that last price action pivot high, so downside bias is legitimate in this case. You just got to spike up to the 382 level and push down hard. Also hit the daily 55 EMA, the green moving average right here. These are all the areas that you expect for rejection if the trend is super, super strong, in this case to the downside. I don't know, man. I feel like if this is really going to come down and make new lows, you need like a real bull trap first and then come down. But I mean, the market doesn't need to do anything, I guess. You know, this is just my opinion on, on it. So yeah. How can you live with an 80% drawdown, no stop loss? I mean, again, understand my perspective as a long-term investor. My perspective is the goal is to hold for 10 years minimum. And it actually has not been an 80% drawdown. It's been like a 70% drawdown. Even then, it's not even a 70% drawdown, because I'm not buying at the high. You have to understand, I'm not buying at the high. For my long-term positions, for my long-term holds. I'm not buying at the high. So it's actually not an 80% drawdown. For my long-term positions, I like to do the overwhelming bulk of my investments, like really, really outsized numbers, when Bitcoin's in like an actual bear market. So I define a bear market as at least having a death cross on the daily time frame. Yes, that's not the perfect way to do it, obviously, but just as like a general sort of indication, I'm not going to start to really put real money into the market for those long-term investments until at least this happens. So the bulk of my investment has been below about $30,000. So what was my real drawdown? Between 30,000 all the way down to 15,000. Well, the average for that was probably somewhere around 22 to 23,000. So between there and 15,000, that's what, like a 30% ish, 30 to 40%. Yeah, I mean, it's still bad, don't get me wrong. But again, I'm in the market to hold for 10 years minimum, man. And again, I am 1,000,000% not saying that that is right for everyone to do. If you need the liquidity from your long-term investments, do not do what I am doing. We have a different perspective. We have a different situation. You have to acknowledge that. And again, these are all spot positions as well. These are not in any way, shape, or form on leverage. I do not believe that you can do long-term investing on leverage. Even at a 2x leverage, you will get wiped out on a 50% move, which can and will happen. If you recall, we even had an event not so long ago. 5 years ago, there was the Rona dump in 2020. Things came down 50% or more for the most case. So yeah. Can't use leverage for long term, in my opinion. I don't think that I think that you are asking for issues. I think that there are several instances that we've seen in history, not even that long ago, that have proved that as a fact. I think you are going to multiply by 0 if you do that. That is my opinion. Sorry, that is actually not an opinion. That is actually backed by hard data. Let's see. Hey, appreciate that. Rico Roo. I like it, man. Cool name. My name was Rico in my Spanish class when I was a kid. That was my Spanish name, Rico. No reasons to take a sip of water. Appreciate it, man. Arrow short term, please and thank you. Let's check it out. All right, Arrow. I'm guessing this is the crypto shitcoin, the Aerodrome Finance. Well, let's see. Not as bad as most, that's for sure, but certainly not among the best as well. Similar to many of these things, I don't think I think you're still more likely to bounce from this region first. The most relevant price action pivot I'd be looking at is about $1. Let's just call it $1. It's a nice round even number there. Technically it's a little bit above there, but maybe you come back down and stab that level. That's fine. I just think that you're more likely to bounce from this level first, maybe top out somewhere around here. And then if it's going to head down, it heads down from there. Long term, I'm not an appreciator of these sort of charts. I'll put it that way, man. I'll put it that way. The only way I'd really switch around my opinion is if this thing traded back, honestly, just traded back above your August high. I know that's not like a helpful analysis, but these things, the onus is on the, is on the bulls to prove themselves. There's not even really bulls for something like this anyways, for most of these shitcoins, just degens trading it. Who don't know any better. March almost happened to me with a long-term trade I had at 1.5x leverage. Yeah, exactly. Like that is the real danger. If you are going to be a long-term investor holding positions for a long term, I don't think that it can be done on leverage. Like I don't think any amount of leverage, honestly, any amount of leverage. Jay House's Crown, is there a specific day of the week that is best to DCA for long-term strategy? Oh man, I'm glad you asked. So I have been testing exactly this. It's funny that you mentioned this, man. Very recently, I've been working with Pesto, one of the guys in the community. Fucking love this guy. Very, very talented. Very, very cool guy as well. Also a fellow Spartacus enjoyer. And we have been testing the days of the week data for DCAs. The day, like the low of the month data for DCAs on a monthly basis. And we actually have found some improvements over just a straight up weekly buy and hold DCA type thing. But I will say the conclusion that we've really come to is that a weekly DCA strategy for Bitcoin is very difficult to beat. It's very difficult to beat, honestly. That's why I say, look, even though I have trading programs, even though, I talk a lot about trading, I will straight up tell you 99.9% of people should be just buying and holding and just do that. You're going to do fine in an asset like Bitcoin. Really, you are. I mean, it's so fucking hard to beat. Honestly, it really is. It really is hard to beat. But the 0.1% of people who are fucking crazy and probably have some level of mental illness, I include myself among these people. Yes, learn how to trade because that's probably what you will really enjoy doing in life. But for the rest of people, like, look, just buy and hold. You're gonna do fine. You're gonna outperform most people, most hedge fund managers, most people who are doing like super complicated shit. I promise you, it is really difficult to beat buy and hold on a weekly DCA for an asset that looks like this. Good fucking luck. Good fucking luck. Same thing for traditional markets. When you look at the major indices, when you have a chart like this, you have a winner, you just fucking buy. You just fucking buy. Yes, there are some times when it's better to buy than other times, yes. But if you are long-term, again, you have to be long-term if this is going to work. 10 years is barely long-term. 5 years is kind of long-term in crypto markets, I guess, but barely. Then yes, you know, these sort of strategies actually, surprisingly enough, they will do better than most things, man. They really will. Crown, there's a huge girthy red dildo shooting down my poop hole. I need help, please. No problem, man. Just come over to our place here, and I will, and I can remove the cock from ass, and we shall receive further ramming together. Wait, what? They called me Putra Maxa. Said it means best guy. I think you mean Puta Maxa. I'm guessing Spanish class didn't go so well, sir. There's I didn't even really pay attention in Spanish class, but look, I grew up in California, man, so I learned real Spanish, okay? Puta mierda, or fucking it up now. Lenny says, another lobotomized question, sir. No problem, man. Yes, I did, Arrow. How would you personally identify opportunities in shitcoins at the end of the cycle, things above monthly movement? Oh, I think that this is just a terrible game to play, to be honest. So I really would not suggest doing this. But the way, if you put a gun to my head and said, Crown, you have to play shitcoin roulette, when is the best time to do it, and how do I do it, like with the best degree of at least having a chance to get out at it at like a very profitable rate? I would wait until Bitcoin has gone parabolic, which I don't even think Bitcoin's going to do anymore. So this might not even be a game anymore. This actually literally might not even be a game anymore. But I wait for Bitcoin to make massively new all-time highs, blow off its top, and make that first initial move to the downside. Then, as Bitcoin starts to create a range, which typically takes about 1 to 2 months, a lot of shitcoins will, the new shitcoins, not the old ones, the new ones typically go for some pretty epic rallies. Those are we've seen some of them today, actually, in fact. And that would be the time that maybe, if I absolutely had to do it, I would consider doing it. And even then, you have to realize, or at least I would strongly suggest that, you know, you can't hold these things for long. Even a month is probably too long. 2 months, you know, certainly at most. But some of these things go on for a little bit longer, but if you want to do it with a higher degree of probability, that would be my kind of playbook. Yes, there are some very minimal exceptions to the rules which do have crazy gains throughout most of the cycle. They are few and far between, and the probability of you finding that one is less than 0.1%, I would imagine. So yeah. The long-term series is amazing. You know what's, man, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really leaning into that a lot more now, because I understand that's probably more valuable to most people, honestly. And also I'm learning stuff myself, and it really helps me kind of internalize the lessons that I'm learning. So it's a selfish endeavor, no doubt about that. But I'll be releasing another long-term investment video tomorrow, probably on, I would say, it might be the biggest and most valuable lesson that I've learned in long-term investing. I don't know. You know, a lot of this stuff is pretty important, but this one is definitely amongst the most important, if not the most important. This one has made this one hasn't saved me a lot of money. It's made me a lot of money. So yeah, you know, I'll be sharing that one tomorrow. And yeah, you're in your 20s. Fuck yeah, man. So you're young, and that's the best thing about long-term investing. If you're young, the time is your ally, man. Time is your fucking ally. I'm in my 20s and probably would have gambled in shitcoins instead, but those videos changed my perspective. I'm really glad to hear that, man. I'm really glad to hear that. Another soul saved. Yeah, man. You know, look, if you play that slow game, you actually end up going faster over the long term. I know you don't feel that way when you're in your 20s, or at least most 20-year-olds do not feel that way, because, you know, you're full of testosterone. You want to fucking go. You know, you got the energy of the gods at that age. I know, because it wasn't so long ago when I was there. But one, that does go away, and two, the problem is that, you know, every dollar that you sacrifice during that, you know, during those years is a dollar that you're not investing, that you're not compounding on. And over time, I mean, that, you know, another 10 years basically makes a big fucking difference. I mean, your gains are probably going to be even doubled from there, or more than that, because, you know, it does compound. Puta mierda. Yes, something like that. And puta madre as well. Tau daily and or weekly for Chris Vela. Sure, ma'am. let's see. This one was an early winner in this cycle, but I don't think anytime as of late. Yeah, again, I don't think that something like this is going to move to the upside in any meaningful amount. This one might have already bounced all the way it's going to bounce for this month. I mean, maybe it bounce a little bit more. Maybe it tries 350 or so. Like I said, I'm not so confident that things are going to make new lows from here before a decent bounce first. I actually do think that things can still decently bounce, but ultimately, I think that this one leads lower, whether it bounces from here or not. Over time, it leads lower back down to like low 200s, and probably even beyond over a long enough period of time. Just not a winner this cycle, man. It's not a winner. We want winners, not losers. This one's a loser. It's a winner if it makes new highs in the cycle and continues to make new highs as the cycle goes on. This one has only made lower highs as the cycle goes on, whereas other things have gotten more bullish. That's just not a good indication of my experience. It's the same chart as, I think it was this thing. Was it Caspa? I think it was this thing. Yeah, very similar chart. I mean, just ugly as fuck, man. Ugly as fuck. It had its day in the sun in 2024, then down only while everything else made new highs. Never a good sign. Never a good sign at all. This one's bearish. Very, very similar chart. Nice hellish dump. Just closed my 15-minute short. Nicely done, sir. Nicely executed. Roulette like Corvette, brother. I'm in my 50s and I'm still super, super horny. Are you taking TRT? Because that will do that. Andre wants to look at Polkadot. Dear Lord, man, I can already visualize this chart, but maybe I'm being too hasty here. No, I'm not. Among the worst charts we've seen today, by far. Terrible. Just god awful, man. Again, I'm not calling you a god awful person, but as far as this chart goes, this is fucking AIDS. It's terrible. Jesus, man. Heavily bearish, even as long as you're below about 469. I mean, even if you got above 469, I think that you just put another rally that fails to like maybe $8 or so. But I mean, that's just hopium, man. The long-term direction is down. Any rally that you get is destined to fail. I highly doubt you'll ever even go above this December high from 2024. Again, just shooting you straight, man. Like these things, you're not very fucking rarely will you ever see a chart like this reverse around and go back anywhere near all-time highs. Very rarely. Those are the exception to the rules. And I can't even think of one that's happened, although I know that they have happened because anything's possible, right? But yeah, this is just, it's dead garbage, done, bad. Move on to better things, sir. Yeah, that sounds right. Best guy right here. Hey, Crown, can we take a look at coin? Yeah. Let's take a coin. Let's look at Coinbase. I always love looking at this one for selfish reasons. Again, full disclosure, I do own this one, but I do think it's coming down. I think it's coming down here. I'm not bullish on this right now. I think this one's topped out for a while. I think you're coming down to like 270, 260-ish region. Maybe even 240 somewhere between 250 to 260-ish region. I think this one's topped out for a while. Yeah, that's going to be a top for a while. 260-ish region. Tommy McDonald says, starting watching you in 2018, I learned to trade from your YouTube channel. Just turned 30 and holy shit, man, you're young gun and been full-time for 5 years now. That is fucking sick, man. That's so cool. That's so awesome, man. I love reading shit like that, man. More power to you. That makes my day. I love it, man. I fucking love it. I see from Gallo, F on the 5-minute chart. I can look at the 5-minute chart for you. Should bounce a little bit in the short term. I don't know, maybe bounce back up to like 43.25 region. At least reconnect with the red 5 EMA. But even then, I mean, extremes on volatility. You don't have any bullish divergence here yet. If you do, that would actually imply it goes a little bit lower. But, I don't think you're going to make significantly new lows below this 5-minute low here without bouncing a little bit first and then, figure it out after that. But yeah, for right now, in my opinion, it's actually not terrible, to be honest. I don't think that it's terrible right now. But now that I've gone to the daily, Mr. Gallo, I should acknowledge, you see the red moving average and the yellow moving average? They're going to confirm, or they've already actually confirmed across the downside. So, you might get your 5-minute bounce for sure. But ultimately, this thing is very likely to come down to the green moving average over some length of period of time. But, you know, might be soon within the next few days, might take a couple weeks. I don't fucking know. Fragment says more power to the moons. Yes, the corn moon is a coming, sir. The corn moon is a coming. I mean, yeah, it can be like that, Fragment. It can be like that. You know, it's a part of the homework. Fragment says, Crown, I know you always say stuff in your videos like do your own homework and don't believe an idiot on YouTube like me. But you have to understand watching you on YouTube is the homework. I mean, look, it can be a reference point. I would just say, you know, you should always trust yourself and because you know your situation better than I do. Like I'm just speaking in generalities for the most part. You have to pull whatever is relevant to you out of that. And at that point, like you actually are doing your own work at that point. So yeah, at least that's the way I think about it. Hayden Disdain from Mexico. We like Mexico. We love Mexico. Let's see. Pulling back here. Ask says, got dragged into crypto in 2019, opened my eyes about money, just offloading last cycle into Bitcoin at dips, invest in Bitcoin and hold. Had I took my 60,000 then and bought 6 Bitcoin, I would have been better off. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I know. And honestly, like it's a very humbling experience to look at it that way. It's a very humbling experience. And I've gone through the same process as well. And that's why I have, you know, coins that I hold and I don't touch. I don't fucking touch them because I know over a long enough period of time, it's probably gonna outperform most people in most things. Crazy, man. Or crazy girl. Anyways, the blood moon. I think oh yes, it is a blood moon. And then it's also a corn moon. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but let's ask Grok what that means. Let's ask Grok. All right, Grok. There is, okay. Let's give it this prompt. Pretend you are an elite level, highly knowledgeable investor, astrologist who is applying their knowledge of astrology to investing. There is a phenomenon, okay, how the fuck do you spell that word? There we go. Called the blood moon, which is also simultaneously a corn moon coming up on I think it's tomorrow, 6th or 7th. Can you give me your expert analysis on what that corn moon means within the context of Bitcoin's price? Let's see. We'll get to that in a moment. Sorry, I missed a few super chats here. I apologize about that. We'll get to that in a moment, though. But I do really want to see what I have to say about this. I'm not gonna lie. And then we got Straight Path, Chris Vella, and Crypto Shart. Crypto Shart, great name. See, Grok's been taking a lot longer recently. It's fictional and hypothetical, involving astrology and crypto, not real advice. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, let's wait. I guess in the meantime, we can look at CIFR for Straight Path. CIFR. We looked at this a few times as of recent. CIFR. Whoops. Maybe I should spell it right. There we go. Cipher mining. Overall, actually good, but in the short term, I do think that you're hitting a short-term high here and you come back down to like $6.50. Somewhere between 6.25 to 6.5 on a pullback. Let's see. Okay, let's also do Chris Vella's because this is a hypothetical question. Okay, so Chris Vella is saying I'm holding a lot of shit. I'm guessing that means shit coins that probably don't look great. Best strategy to reset my portfolio. Okay, this was actually oh my god, that's actually coming out in my video tomorrow. Okay, I thought it was actually my that was actually my long-term investment video from last week, but it'll be a part of this one. So I'll just kind of spoil the surprise for you. So Okay, it kind of depends. Like, one, do you have capital gains in general? And are these, I'm guessing when you say you're holding a lot of shit, like, are you holding things that are just going down only? If you have capital gains, I would just sell those at as big of a loss if I could, honestly, in order to offset my capital gains. And then I'd go and double down on my winners. That's basically the gist of it. I would sell my losers to buy my winners. Sell my losers to buy my winners. And if I already have capital gains on the year, that's great because I can just use that to offset that. And then I go get to buy more of my winners and they're just going to win more over time. And then I don't need to pay tax on that until I actually realize those ones. That's what I do. And that is actually what I do in traditional markets. Anyways, let's see. Is Grok ready? Yes. Okay. As an elite astrologer with decades of experience. Okay. Enough with the bullshit. All right. Okay. Okay. As an astro investor, I advise treating this as a culmination point. Harvest profits if your charts show strong Pisces. What the fuck? Okay. Can you summarize this into what is... Let's try this. Fucking Grok always like, it's actually probably good that it does it the way that it does, but there's just a lot of fluff in these answers. Crypto Shard is looking at Syrup on the 4 hour. Syrup, let's do that really quick while we wait for the next answer in maybe 5 minutes. All right. No, we looked at this one earlier. Among one of the better ones, among the best ones actually today. Honestly, even with this dump off here, still okay. I would even be bullish on this thing as long as you're basically above 45, 46 cents. I'd be treating this one as bullish. Short term, does it pull back a little bit more? Maybe reconnect with like 48, 49 cents? Yeah, probably. But I would only get bearish on this thing if it came back down, like I said, below about, let's call it 45.5 cents. Until then, respect it. All right, Grok. Based on astrology, astrological interplay of the upcoming the blood moon corn moon, total lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th, amplifying themes of harvest rewards, illusion bursting revelations. Illusion bursting revelations. Wait a second. If I've been sold on these hopes and dreams of my shitcoins going to the moon and beyond, if I've been sold on mathematician Fred Krueger just changed his view on Bitcoin cycle. This time is different. Why you need to prepare for Bitcoin to go parabolic. Whale manipulation alert. Bitcoin's next move already decided. Bitcoin versus gold versus stablecoins. The big money debate ends. Oh, I'm guessing you're going to say Bitcoin, right? Because your name is Swan fucking Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin and crypto went down. Final push is starting. Final push is starting. Okay. Why Bitcoin is mispriced right now? We're not breaking Bitcoin. Max Kaiser says it's coming. Amazing. Yeah. Well, illusion bursting revelations. Illusion bursting revelations. Well, maybe. Illusion bursting revelations. Illusion bursting revelations. I don't know. Bitcoin's price currently surging around 112 to 113 as of September 5th is most likely to experience heightened volatility with sharp swings of 10 to 20% in the next 5 days. That's actually very interesting. My literal mathematical models do suggest a 20% swing or more, in fact. Potentially dipping towards support levels like, okay, I think your math is wrong on that, sir. 10% move, 113 to 108. Not making sense there. Amid options expiry pressures, yes, we do have a quad witching coming up. Before pivoting to a bullish resumption post-eclipse, harvesting gains towards... Oh, okay, so this is actually a bullish interpretation of it. That's very interesting. All right. Well, fair enough. We shall see. If institutional... Oh, God, it's like your usual fucking... YouTube/Twitter analyst. The Fed rate cuts are coming. It must go up. Though a deeper correction below $100,000 remained possible if regulatory. Okay, thanks. All right, that was very unhelpful, honestly. I remain Unmoved. Oh, final fart before the dump, says Guflam Saleh. Fart coin. You want to look at some fart derps? All right, let's look at some fart derps. Yeah, no spamming, man. Don't do the spamming. It's fucking annoying. But we can look at fart derp. Yeah, man, it's pretty bad. Surprise, surprise. Fart coin going down. This thing is done, man. I think the best hopium I can even provide for something like this is that you get one more bounce and maybe it brings you back to like 1 1/4 and then this thing falls apart. But I think that's probably too much hopium, honestly. The real question is does it break here and go down to like 50 cents or does it actually try a real bounce? I mean, fuck, it really would not take too much to get this thing to bounce. Like, for fuck's sake, it's down 50% from the all-time high or more. Jesus. Illusion, bursting, revelations. That is an interesting choice of word. I agree, Asti. Jose Garcia says, corn moon just refers to corn harvest time of the year. Agriculture is a reference name for the full moons. Ah, okay, fair enough. Well, corn's fucking gross, man. Honestly, corn is like super gross. Diabolical fucking vegetable. Is it even a vegetable? That's how they create. Is corn used in high fructose corn syrup? That's a good question. Is corn used in high? It could just be a play on words. But also, I mean, corn is just fucking gross. Like, you can't even digest it. That's why it comes out all in your shits. It's not ew, it's science. Corn moon is when the farmers pray to the great corn god, Cornholio. They get a bunch of corn and a bunch of butter and then need TP for their bungholes. I thought that was going a different direction with the corn going up the bunghole, but hey, Bungholio is getting his cornholio filled. Very nice. Yes, okay, yeah, it does. It is made from corn. All right, probably should have guessed that one. Lobotomized question of the day by yours truly. Now it's sweeping hour. May the price action will slow down for the rest of the day. I mean, yeah, that's the first hour of trading. Like, usually things are going to be quick during there and then kind of boring after that, honestly. My grandfather said they fed corn to the hogs to fatten them up. He didn't eat it. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, corn's absolutely fucking gross. I mean, that's also what they feed to still cows today to make them fat and, you know, get some really nice meat out of them. But yeah. Yeah, it's a sugar from corn, then highly concentrated into syrup. Fair enough. Another syrup comment as well. Anyways, I think we'll end things on that note, guys. Good way to end the week. And like I said, I'll upload a long-term investment video tomorrow. You know, early on the Saturday morning. And other than that, you know, just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy rest of your Saturday or Friday. Like I said, we'll be back on with another live stream on Monday. Hopefully we got some a little bit new to look at because, you know, it's kind of getting a little bit boring, honestly, with Bitcoin here. But ultimately, the medium and long term, I still think is more or less unchanged. Short term, I don't know, is Bitcoin really going to bounce here or not? I guess we'll find. Yeah, I did do all of them. All right, there's Metaplanet. Okay, I missed Metaplanet. We did syrup a million fucking times. Did we do it the million first time though? Yeah, we did. Let's go back. Let's go to Metaplanet. All right, 3350. Oh, nice. You live in Japan. That's cool. Okay, so you're right on the daily 200 simple. Usually this is going to be a bouncy region. It does look like things might actually drop a little bit lower first and then bounce, but anywhere between the area that it's at right now and this 559 number right there is probably fair game. Weekly time frame, I think is going to, yeah, I think it's going to come at least a little bit lower. I would say like around 630-ish region, somewhere between there and like 675 or 674. So a little bit lower and then probably a bounce. I mean, this is truly a parabolic blow off top though. So it's like, fuck. The higher time frame that I go to, the worse it looks, man. Look, I do not think this is fucking good. I think this one is ultimately coming lower. It's going to be bounces along the way, obviously, but I think at some point it gets down to like 530, 540-ish region. There should be another big bounce around there at least. Like I said, bounce along the way, but I don't think it's going to be recovering anytime soon. Maybe, I mean, fuck, like this is not good. It's not good, man. Anyways, we'll end things on that note. It's been a lovely little stream, guys. Very happy to be here with you all. We'll be back on with another live stream on Monday. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully